Hey guys, I'm Jackie Brubaker, host of the Love You Even More podcast. I'm an author, speaker, 2-time Emmy Award winner, and entrepreneur. I'm a Jackie of all trades and a master of some. Each week, I bring on people from all walks of life to talk to them about their inspiring stories in the fields of self-development, relationships, business, and how you can love yourself even more. For more about me and the podcast, visit us at loveyouevenmore.com. Welcome, Stacey Scott, back to the Love You Even More podcast. Stacey's been on a couple of times and you guys love her so much, and so do I. So she's back. She is now, I'm just going to say it, you're our resident decluttering expert and Feng Shui practitioner, or maybe I got those both mixed up, but you are a decluttering expert, which is so fascinating. Please go check out her previous episodes if you haven't already. And then Feng Shui, which is one of my favorite things ever. I think it's just so fascinating. So today we're going to talk about color and what it means to you in your home, why we like certain colors, why we don't like certain colors. This came up because I was watching your Instagram feed and you were talking about why people like certain colors. And I immediately was like, I hate the color orange, like always have. Nothing happened, just really don't like that. And it's not like I see it and I'm like repulsed, but I certainly don't need any of it in my world. So like wherever you'd like to start, we can start, but let's talk about color.
Yes. Okay. So, well, first, so thrilled to be back. I think this is like my third time. So I'm thrilled to be your new resident in chief gal over here. And so color's one of those things where it's one of the first things I notice when I go to either walk into a home or see a virtual home, because it can tell you a lot about just the person's kind of subconscious mindset. I'm always talking about how your home is really telling your story, but it's often in a very subconscious way. We're not going to Target and being like, what's my narrative of my life? How do I want to manifest through my home? Do I want the blue towels or the red towels? No, we just gravitate towards the things that we gravitate towards.
Doing that.
What?
I'm actually doing that. I'm like,
oh,
I
love
can't
it. You're on another level.
But no, you're right.
Start
Most of
doing
us
that.
are.
That's the next level of intuitively designing your space. But often we're taking in so many messages from the interior design world, the decluttering world, the quote unquote tastemakers at large about what we should have in our spaces. And you guys know me at this point. My message is I'm not here to tell you what you should have in your space. I'm here to reconnect you to your intuition, to your body, so you know what you need beyond a shadow of a doubt, what you need in various stages of healing and in various stages of your life for you to move forward and not feel stuck, because your home is very much part of the story that you feel, that you give off through your body, the narrative that's replaying in your head over and over, of which color is a part. Color is actually a big part because it can make one of the biggest energetic changes in your life by painting a wall, by getting a colored couch, by changing your duvet color, changing a carpet color. So it's one of those first things I really love to look at. Now, I promised when we were offline a little bit, I would go into that white and gray trend, which is finally starting to peter out. But because we take in so much from what society says, I also find that a lot of times in our spaces, we are reacting to kind of the subconscious story of our own society at large. So around 2009, 2010, girl bossing was really kind of coming into play very, very hard. That was the rise of CEO incubators, where everybody was going to be the CEO of some sort of tech company. Women were really finally getting in the game of calling themselves CEOs, which had a lot of benefits. But you really saw this uptick in girl boss culture, the coffee shop. Instagram was really finding its footing with all of this kind of aesthetic posts.
Right.
But that's when we really started to see white and gray come into play. Now, from a Feng Shui perspective, white and gray, the colors themselves, are linked to metal energy. Now, mental energy is all about being creative. It's very kind of proper and righteous. It's all about speaking your truth. And so that's very much in alignment with girl boss energy.
Mm.
It's about like, no, I'm here. I've got something to do. You're going to listen to me. Sit the F down. Let's do this thing.
Hmm.
And so that's so in alignment with that era. And I think this kind of somebody must have suggested white and gray along the lines. And because of our society was becoming such an echo chamber with the rise of social media, boom, everybody and their mom basically, especially in the millennials generation,
Yeah.
we hopped on this white and gray train really, really heavily.
Yeah.
And now every color has benefits and drawbacks. Color is neutral. Color is completely neutral. And I'll
Okay.
get into why we like and dislike some colors in just a second. But please stop me if you have any questions.
No,
But
I'm listening.
so that's why that white and gray got so popular. It just blew up. It also is very much connected to this minimalist idea, which was also gaining traction at this time.
Right.
White and gray feels very pure. It felt very fresh. What we do in this country, in the US, is we pendulum swing, very harsh. You know, a lot of us were coming out of that 90s, early 2000s, brown, beige was everywhere. And so what do? We pendulum swing hard and we throw all that out
Yeah.
and we say, well, this is the new girl boss era. And we all were really vibing with that. So white and gray felt very, very comfortable to where we were at that time as a society. But because what we do is we pendulum swing violently, we all dove in a little too much. But
Got it.
because color is neutral, we were getting those great benefits of creativity and, listen to me, here I am planting a flag. But what can happen with too much white and gray is it turns up the mind monkeys and it creates more anxiety.
Ooh, okay.
So when I started my Feng Shui career, I was going into all these homes. I started in like 2019. I was going into all these millennials' homes and they were moving in. White and gray was still very hot. They were buying these beautiful spaces, but they're like, I hate it here. We just spent everything on this house and I hate it. And they were near to tears and they couldn't figure out why. And it's because they had turned the anxiety up in their space so high that they couldn't even hear themselves, even if they were strongly connected to their intuition. And so
Wow.
I'd have to come in and kind of tap down on that energy. So that's really why I'm finding that. And now that our culture is moving out of that girl boss era, now that we're all making fun of ourselves from that era, you're seeing the pendulum swing violently again from minimalism to maximalism.
Oh my God, that's so
So
true.
my advice to everybody is stop paying attention to these narratives because whether it's minimalism or maximalism, it is only going to make you feel bad about who you are in your space. Your
Mm,
home doesn't hear the, oh, I hate this. This is awful. Why is this place always a mess? Oh, I feel terrible here. Your home doesn't hear that. You do. You're
mhm.
saying that to yourself subconsciously and inadvertently.
It's so interesting because I have noticed that maximalism is just huge right now and it's beautiful. Like, I follow so many accounts with like interior design and I really love seeing what's happening, but I would never want to live in that space, which is the difference. It's beauty for beauty's sake, but then like actual living. I remember when I painted two walls of my office that it was the Pantone color of the year for like 2018. It was like a very dark, 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 not quite emerald green, but like even darker than that. I actually wanted emerald green, but oh well. So, but I loved it because my house is so bright and like it's an off-white. So it helped ground everything. And you would think that such a dark color would be like scary, but it actually felt great. And the more darker colors I brought in and more like grounding colors I brought in, it felt so much. I had less anxiety in my house because, like you said, my house used to be very not gray and white, but definitely white on beige on white on white. I was like, this feels like a lot of pressure.
Exactly. It does turn up the pressure in our lives. And white
Mhm.
and gray is not to be feared. It's definitely the color of creativity and really helps you get your mind going. But you can see how if we go off the deep end with that, it's just too much for a lot of us, because then we started to have these conversations about grounding and
Yeah.
anxiety and, trauma informed XYZ came into the scene.
Yeah.
And so our home started to reflect this consciousness change as a collective.
That
But
makes so
again, my
much
message to
sense.
people is don't jump off the deep end with it. It's more about coming back into your own intuition. And I think for you, the reason that those darker colors really helped ground you is because darker colors are connected to yin energy. And in Feng
Mhm.
Shui, yin is meditative. It's very go inside. It can be a very healing vibe if you've been in this too much mental
Yeah.
headspace for too long in an all white home.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
white and gray is very yang energy, a lot of the shades. It's very get up and go, let's do this thing. And so a lot of us are now finding ourselves like, wait, that's too much. I'm burnt out. I'm in a
Yeah.
dysfunctional freeze pattern. So I think that's why we're also starting to see maximalism and heavier colors coming into use in a
Fascinating.
lot of the interior design spaces. It's all energy.
So when you say gray and white is metal and it's a creative color sort of palette, how do you know that? Like how will we look at colors and be like, this color is this color and this color is that and why it means that?
So this is a great question. And so there are, a few separate colors that are very connected to the elements in Feng Shui. In Feng Shui, there are 5 elements. There's wood, water, metal, earth, and wood, water, and fire. How can I forget fire? And each of them have associated colors with them. And so everything else to some degree is up to the Feng Shui practitioner and how they see kind of the molding and the melding of certain hues and tones. But white and gray is clearly and purely linked to metal energy. White is yin metal, gray is yang metal. So
Mhm.
it is one of those colors that has a very clear definition in Feng Shui. And so that's how we go off of that.
Okay, so if we're feeling really called to paint gray, does it matter how light or how dark it is?
So that yin and that yang will come into play. So the lighter the gray, like a dove gray, is going to be more yang energy. So it's going to have more action and, vibrancy behind it. It's going to make you want to get up and go.
Okay.
Whereas something darker, like a heather gray, or darker, like a deep dark, like gray kind of overcast day, is
Yeah.
going to have more yin energy. So it's going to be more introspective, reflective. It's going to slow your body down.
Okay. And then explain, which you kind of just did, but explain a little bit more about yin and yang energy.
Yeah, so you can apply that to any shade or hue. So pretty much the general rule of thumb, it doesn't work in every situation, but generally the lighter and the brighter, meaning like the more white that there is behind it, it's going to be more like yang. So it's going to be more like get up and go energy. Your pastels are going to fall into this category. You look at it and you kind of you sit up a little taller in your seat.
Okay.
Where something deeper, darker, blacks, dark navies, the deep dark emerald that you painted your wall is going to be more yin. So that is going to slow your body down in your home. It's going to turn you a little bit more inward. And that's why you tend to see those darker colors in like reading rooms or like these cozy little nooks, because they
Yeah.
just feel right. It just feels right to do that.
Okay. So then would you say that yin energy is more feminine?
So technically in Feng Shui,
Or,
yes.
oh, so hold on. Wait. Yes, that's what I
Yes.
meant.
No, technically in Feng Shui, yin is feminine, yang is masculine.
Okay.
Yang is get up and go, it's power of the sun. Yin is feminine, it's power of the moon.
Okay.
We don't look at that in terms of gender, but yes, you want to make sure you have a balance of both in your home.
Okay.
Or if you're feeling too revved up, you want to bring in darker colors as just a
Okay.
general rule of thumb. And if you're feeling too kind of sloggy, I can't get up, you might even want to bring in some white and gray to rev you up and get you going.
Okay. So let's kind of go through like the colors of the rainbow, just like the basic primary colors and sort of what they mean. Just for someone, like such as myself, where I'm like, what does orange mean? What does it mean?
Well, let me actually do, if it's okay, do the colors that I find most women like have that very knee jerk, oh, I hate that color.
Yeah. Let's do it. I love that.
Because this is what I find when I put these posts out or I work with clients one on one. I get the knee jerk of like the, oh, I hate that color. And I always like to tell people we don't hate color. Color is neutral. Color has positives and unintendeds, like the whole white and gray thing we just went through.
Mhm.
Often I find, because I do a lot of trauma informed decluttering and feng shui, is we had some sort of experience in the past with that color, something that we can potentially point to. For example, like in third grade, you were wearing purple shoes and somebody, a classmate made fun of you. And now you're like, oh, I hate purple.
Yeah.
Or I hear often from people, they're like that, the class bully always liked purple and now I can't stand the color.
Yeah.
So you may have had some very tangible experience with it. Or on the opposite side, you were uncomfortable with the energetic abundance that that color provides.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Mm-hmm.
other reason I find a lot of people not liking specifically the color purple, because purple in feng shui is kind of easy abundance. It's your birthright. It's the fact that whatever you find abundant, whatever your values are in this world, that should really be able to come easy to you. It's the color and energy of self-worth. And so I find a lot of people, though they might not have had an experience in childhood or young adulthood with the color, they
Mm-hmm.
are uncomfortable with its energetic abundance, its energetic signature. And so they push it away and they don't have any of it in their homes. Purple is actually one of those colors I find that most people don't have in their spaces. And everybody loves to check me on that. They're like, well, I have purple. I'm like, that's great. You keep rocking it. But I've been in thousands of homes across my experience as a doctor of occupational therapy and now a feng shui practitioner. Purple is one of those colors you really don't see.
That's so interesting. My mom loves the color purple in her home. We had purple velvet couches in our living room. She loves that color. And so when I saw that post about purple, I was like, oh, how interesting, because she just adores it. Then I was thinking about my own house. I'm like, I don't have 1 ounce of purple at all. And now I'm thinking I should definitely bring some purple in.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to start small. Like, please don't ever anybody take me thinking that they need to go paint walls. That's so not, unless you want to, that's so not what you have to do. You can really start small. Crystals, a pillow, a throw blanket for the
Yeah.
couch. Start a small, excuse me, a plant potter.
Something
Just
smaller.
start small. Yeah.
I was thinking to throw a throw rug, or not a throw rug, a throw blanket or something like that.
Yeah.
Just something. I was like, oh my gosh, I need more abundance. I want more purple.
Yes. And then it's funny, the other color I find, especially women, that they knee jerk against is red.
Interesting. Go on.
Red is super powerful. Obviously, you can't look away. You cannot tear your eyes away from a red car, a woman in a red dress.
Hmm.
It's very powerful. And
Yeah.
in feng shui, I'm sure it's to nobody's surprise, it's linked to the energy of fire. But in feng shui, the energy of fire is being seen, noticed, recognized in the world for however you want to be recognized, whether that's in ways big and small. So, because women for the longest time have been told, don't shine, don't stand
Yeah.
out. Even amongst other women, it's a very scary thing still to really shine in a group of other women, being
Mhm.
afraid that they might try and take you down a few pegs.
Right.
So women very much shy away from the color of red. And this is one of those instances where, unless you had an experience as a kid, we are deeply uncomfortable, I think, still a little collectively with the energetic signature of red. But red is how you're seen in the world.
Huh. I do have red in my house. I have a really, really big living room red rug.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I would take a guess you're fairly comfortable being seen in the world because you have this podcast, you have a big Instagram following.
That's true. That's probably true. I'm still like, human. So I feel like I feel the judginess when it comes. But yeah, I've always really liked red actually, but especially red clothing or like red lipstick or things like that. But I can absolutely see how red would be very uncomfortable for most people to, or like I've seen at homes, especially in Europe. I feel like parts of Europe, when you go into homes, it's like big, bright yellow or blue or red cabinets in the kitchen. They're so loud. And I'm like, I wouldn't have chosen that. But I do see that with really big, bold colors in Europe. Do you think that Europeans have more comfortability with that?
That's a good question slash point. It's funny. I was thinking about this a lot. I went to Scandinavia 2 years ago now, and there's an element of how we design our homes that's very much according to our landscape as well, the geographic area that we live in, the energy of the land.
Hmm.
And when I finally went to Scandinavia, I remember saying to my husband, I was like, I get it now. I get why minimalism is a thing here. Because the power of, I was in Denmark, Norway, and why am I blanking on the third country? I'm blanking on it.
Sweden?
Apologies. Thank you, Sweden. I did all of them. Thank you. I blanked on. I apologize to any of your Swedish listeners. But their landscape, the energy of their landscape is so loud. And I don't
Oh,
mean that it's got mountains and rivers and lakes. It has lots of beautiful topography, but the energy of itself is very fresh. It's very commanding. And like, I would not have recognized that until I stepped foot on that land, just how vibrant feeling that land is.
oh wow.
And I think I get now why minimalism is so popular there. And I hope I'm not putting words in their mouth. This was just my takeaway, because they don't need that in their spaces.
Mm.
The energy of their land is so vibrant. So that minimalism is how they've balanced it out.
Oh wow, that is so fascinating. So
It's
then what is America like?
well, I mean, the patchwork that is America is overwhelming. So
Yeah.
I'm always taking into account, like, if I'm seeing a client, like where they are. I had a client this is years ago, in like Louisiana. Now that the energy of that land is also palpable. It's a little bit heavier. It's very
Yeah.
waterlogged.
Hmm.
And so we had to make different choices for her. Whereas the energy of where I'm in the Washington, D.C. area. We're a little less waterlogged here, but it can still feel a little heavy here.
Yeah.
So some homes here do need a little bit more of that lightness.
Oh wow, that's so
So
fascinating.
yeah.
Okay, more colors.
Okay. So you asked for orange. So orange is one of those colors where it's not cleanly connected to any one of the feng shui elements. If we had to connect it, I'd say it's mostly connected to the element of fire. So
Hmm.
that is, again, being seen, noticed, and recognized in the world. But a lot of times oranges can feel they're not as impactful as red, right? So to me, orange is kind of like the cool stepsister of red, where like it's very unexpected in a lot of ways. So it's kind of like that person who hangs back and is like, sup, what you saying today, but you can't take your eyes off of them, because
Yeah.
their energy is still impactful, but it is a little bit more understated. And that's kind of like the best way I have to explain it. And obviously, yin and yang applies to that as well. So the more creamsicle orange, you're going to have more yang energy, more get up and go, power of the sun, let's do this thing. And the deeper, darker orange, like a burnt sienna,
Uh-huh.
um, for my Ross fans, is going to be more yin, more introspective, more turning in, power of the moon.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a specific shade of orange. It's like the orange that you think of when you think of like bright orange. And it's, like like an actual orange color. And it's just so obnoxious to me. That's what it feels like. It's so obnoxious. Like it's annoying to me.
Like, it's annoying. So here's what I tell people. You can like and dislike colors. You can have whatever you want in your space. I'm not here to tell people what they should have.
Yeah.
I'm always opening up the floor to more knowledge and discussion around, well, why do you have that gut reaction? And
Yeah.
that's okay if you're not sure, but that's the self-exploratory aspect of my work. It's like, well, why? Is there something there to be uncovered?
I am trying to think of what that could be. I think I just, the 80s had a lot of orange and I was really little. I just hated it. It could just be that simple. It was just overkill.
So that is an experience then of like, ugh, I hated everything about this in my friend's house at the time. And I spent a
Yeah.
lot of time there. And it can be innocent. I'm like, I just still don't like it.
Yeah. It's so interesting. What about the color green?
Okay, so green, I must admit, is my favorite color.
I
My
love green too.
love green. So I'm going to tell my own personal story because I realized I was actually using too much green in my home. So here we go. Green in Feng Shui is linked to the element of wood. And wood is all about growth, new beginnings, new opportunities. It's like when you get that fresh idea in your head, especially us as business owners and creatives, it's that fresh new idea of like, that's great. Let me go work on this now. And it's all that exuberance, that feeling of optimism. Green is linked to, the season of spring. So this is a very easy way to understand. You wake up on that first spring day and you're like, oh, everything in life is fabulous. I have no problems, no worries. It's wonderful. If we have a little too much green in our homes, I was noticing this with myself, it can become very much a comfort zone of constantly looking to be stimulated into the new and having difficulty sitting with yourself. I was somebody who really ran away from dealing with anything in my past for a very long time. And I was using green as a way to keep myself running on a treadmill of like, this idea, that idea, let's go do this. Because I came out of college with a master's in occupational therapy. And within 2 years, by the way, my walls were painted green at this time. I was living in Baltimore and I painted my whole room green. And then within like maybe a year and a half, 2 years, I was like, I need a doctorate now when I really
Oh
didn't.
God, I
But
know.
I convinced myself I needed a doctorate and I did a doctorate while working full time, while planning a wedding, while moving in with my then boyfriend. It was insane. He started an MBA.
No.
My life was insane, but it's because I was choosing to run. I could not sit.
Huh.
And I was abusing the power of the color green to help me run away from my past. So I offer that to people as a way to sit with yourself and say, oh my gosh, I love green. Am I overusing it? Am I having trouble running away from myself? Because my audience primarily are looking to do a lot of healing. So yeah,
Wow.
green is, I still love it.
I still love green too, but like my kitchen cabinets, I just painted this beautiful light mint shade of green. And then I have those green walls in my office right next to it. That very much resonates for me. I sound like you. What could you do to sort of counteract it? Would you just like take out some green?
So you don't have to. I tell people you can do this as cheaply or as expensively as you want. Feng Shui is one of those things where you can make a shift with really small things, or you can paint and knock down walls and completely bulldoze everything to the ground. It has that much flexibility to it. Obviously, we're not doing that. I don't know
Yeah.
of anybody who wants to bulldoze. So when it comes to the color green, we're going to bring in colors that actually help to control that color. So you don't
Okay.
have to repaint. So the colors that are actually going to kind of control, you're going to laugh. The wood color is actually going to be the element of metal, which is going to be white and gray.
Oh, hilarious, hilarious. Actually, that wouldn't be. So the rest of my kitchen is white. There's no gray, but there is quite a bit of white in it.
Okay.
So I
So
feel like
maybe
it would be balanced.
there you go. So we don't always need to make knee-jerk reactions to our spaces. I really love people not to make any sort of knee-jerk reaction and to really sit in the energy of their home first. And I
Mhm.
always offer this kind of exercise of please leave your home, go get a coffee, go do whatever you want to do for a couple of hours. And when you come back, I want you to come back really slowly, meditatively. Open the door slowly.
Okay.
Notice how you step over your threshold. Walk through your rooms, kind of tracing the path that you would normally walk. What are your eyes landing on? What is your body feeling? How is your body maneuvering around your couch and your table and your furniture? We don't pay attention to these things, but this is all really creating that narrative,
Mhm.
our subconscious narrative of who we believe ourselves to be. And that's what I go in and I help folks tweak. So until we kind of open up our awareness of mind body connection to home, it's really hard to hear our intuition for what we need in our spaces. So this is how you really let your home speak to you. So we go slow because we're always running, right? We wake up and we start our day running, and we don't really pay attention to our homes unless something's kind of out of place and it starts to kind of press on us. And that's when we start to say, oh, why is this place a mess? Why is it always so cluttered? Why can't I keep it clean? But again, your home can't hear those things.
Right.
You hear those things. So
fascinating. I love it. All right. What about, well, you tell me the colors. You keep going.
So by the way, I actually have a really nice long description of all the colors in my manifesting course if anybody's interested.
Oh,
yeah, so just because I'm doing these kind of quick and I'm not going through all of them, but I think the next one that I get the most knee jerk around is pink.
Ooh, okay.
And I get a lot of people who you're either a lot of times team pink or team not pink.
Yes, that's
It's
so
very
true.
similar to red. You can definitely have a lot of knee jerking around it of like, oh, I hate that color. So at the very surface level, of course, we have the genderization of pink. And in Feng Shui, pink is actually linked to something called yin earth, which is a very soft, meditative, beautiful, earthy energy. It's kind of the energy of the beach, very soft and beautiful. Most of the time, people love the beach.
Yeah.
But it's also linked to these deeper things of self-love. Mother-daughter relationship lives there, which is big for my audience. And the energy of partnership, relationships, romantic love can live there. And so I'm always so interested of like, okay, well, why are we having this knee jerk around pink? What has happened in our experiences? Why are we kind of uncomfortable with this color? Now, I often find some people can have too much pink, but I find a lot of times there are certain colors that we just don't. They're very rarely that I walk into a home where I'm like, whoa, chill with the purple, or whoa, chill with the pink.
Yeah.
I find most homes that I walk into, I see people all across the world. Most people have blues, greens, whites, and grays. And beige is still very much in there, like wood tony things. And that's still very much kind of moving in a direction of what society is telling us. So pink is one of those colors I always like people to sit with themselves, because it can be one of those where it's like, I didn't have an experience with pink in childhood, but I didn't have a great relationship with my mom, and now we still don't talk. I'm like, okay, let's open this up. That doesn't mean you go paint walls pink, but let's marinate in this for a moment and just open that up and see what we need to go in and maybe heal first.
Got it. That makes sense. I like pink. I do have pink.
I know. Pink actually for me here, another personal story to drive it home. I grew up in an all pink room. Pink carpet, because carpet was the thing. We covered up my gorgeous wood floors. Carpet was such a thing at the time. It was the 80s. Pink carpet, pink walls, pink bedspread, pink curtains, pink everything. I loved pink. I was a super girly girl as a child. Fast forward, I had a challenging childhood. I hated pink. I stopped wearing pink. I stopped using pink at all in my life. I really went to the greens and the blues. I even had red and gold for a while. And it wasn't until my own healing journey when I did a home audit on myself. I'm like, what colors am I missing from my space? And I realized I had no pink. I had nothing. And this very much reflected my own rejection of the abundance that pink can provide, because pink is self-love. And I mean, I had just the worst inner critic, 6-7 years ago. And I slowly brought some in. And after I even explain, because then the next question I get, especially from women, is, but my husband hates it, but my husband. Look, I can't change anybody's perception. All I know is for me, I explained to my husband why bringing some pink in was so important. And he looked at me in the eye and he's like, if you need this, go do what you got to do.
Nice.
So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
A lot of pink.
Yeah, pink is very, very triggering to people. And It's funny. I noticed that I didn't have any pink clothing because I needed to actually wear something pink. This was like a few years ago. And ever since then, I've been like, let me buy some pink stuff as I'm going.
Yeah.
Like, let me choose pink versus a color I would typically wear. Interesting. What about the color yellow? Because that can be very bright, or I guess not bright, but
So again, so when it comes to yellow in any shade or hue, at face value, it's actually linked to the element of earth in Feng Shui. So it is more the grounding color. It is a color that kind of helps us get back in tune with our body.
mm,
I feel like grounding gets overused, but I do find that it's a calming color, or
hmm
at least it's meant to be a calming color. A
hmm
lot of times I think people now believe that white is the most calming color, when really it's going to be more of these earth tones.
hmm
But because our pendulum swinged between the late 90s, early 2000s into this minimalism girl boss era, people threw out browns, they threw out beiges, they threw out taupes.
yeah,
I always like to say I grew up in beige hell. Like my entire house was beige. It was beige hell. But it's not because I didn't like beige. It's because I was pushing away its abundance. And
right.
that was very much reflected in my inability to sit with myself, to
Mm.
be relaxed. If you met me 6 years ago, you'd be like, "Hey, Stacey, how you doing? Do you feel anxious right now?" And I'd be shaking up a storm on my fourth cup of coffee. "I'm not anxious. What are you talking about? Not me." And I'd be talking a mile a minute, and I already talk fast. I'm a New Yorker. Um, so yellows are going to be that earth energy, browns, taupes. And, I tend to get some people knee jerking. "Well, I hate brown." I'm like, "Well, what kind of colors did you grow up with?" "Oh,
Yeah,
browns." "Okay."
yeah, that makes a lot of
Um, and then you can have it in any shade or hue, depending if you want more yin or more yang.
I love it. Is there another color that we really need to be aware of that people just feel all the feelings about?
I feel like I went through the most triggering colors. Those
Okay.
are, it's really red for a lot of women, purple for lots of people. And I find folks with trauma, it's a lot of the pink.
Okay. And then does black trigger people?
So black in feng shui is linked to the element of water. Water is an interesting element in feng shui. It's actually probably the most powerful element that some practitioners, in some circles, we talk about that. Water is linked to career trajectory. It's also in a funny way linked to money. It's also linked to our social circles, it's almost the sound of chatter. It's linked to how we kind of move through the world, our fluid motion. So because it's linked to so many things, and we don't tend to decorate our homes in black, although we could.
Mm-hmm.
um, it's one of those interesting colors I very rarely see unless it's in furniture. Some people
I
have,
was gonna say,
leather is still very popular. Black furniture
yeah,
tends to still be popular.
yeah.
Um, So yeah, water's just, or black rather, is one of those really interesting colors that I just find that people just don't think about at all,
Mm.
because it's not really prevalent in our homes. I don't find a whole bunch of knee jerking around it like I do around some of the other colors of the "oh my God, I hate that color" kind of
Right.
knee jerking. And so that I always found really interesting too, because I very much still to this day don't have much black in my home.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
Fascinating. I love this. This is so interesting. I would love you to send the link so I can put it in the description for your manifesting class workshop so that people can learn more about this. But this is so fascinating. And every time you come on, everything clicks together so much better. And even just understanding like the yin and the yang of the colors, like the light and the dark of the colors, and using that to better understand, even just taking inventory of your house to see what's going on. um, it's so interesting. You'll be back. You'll be back. I'll be like, there's something else you posted, and now we're going to talk about
I
it.
love it. I love it.
Thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything that you would like to say or something you forgot to mention? Like any last thoughts?
Yes, I think final thoughts is just think about it like this. We don't hate or dislike color. Color is really neutral. We can have harness its positive aspects, or we can have so much that we get something that's very unintended about that energy. So if you are having kind of that knee-jerk, oh my gosh, I hate this, I want you just to sit and think about maybe why we're pushing away the subconscious abundance that each color can bring. Because each color, whether you hate it or not, brings you something. And so I'd hate for anybody to move through life pushing something away that they can start to slowly integrate into their nervous systems by simply buying a bouquet of red flowers, by simply buying a bouquet of purple flowers, and just seeing how that sits in their system.
Oh, that's such great advice. Oh my gosh, Stacey, you're the best. Everything you need to know about this lady is in the description underneath. Go click the links, go follow her. Please follow her. She's so entertaining. Thank you so much, Stacey.
Thanks for having me.